never works that way. Your safety in your drugs, for instance, it sounds like a reasonable thing. You want safety in your drugs, but the FDA and the drug companies are in bed together, and they squeeze out competitions and build up their monopolies, and they love government medicine because they make more money. The insurance companies and the drug companies, whether it's Democrats or Republicans reforming the medical care system, these corporations run the show. They support this because the government doesn't take it over. It's the corporations that end up taking over. So, it's well intended, but I think it always backfires on us, and that the people you're wanting to regulate end up writing their own regulations.
So in that particular case, would the reasonable alternative be no FDA?
I think so. Because I think they've done more harm than good, because sometimes it might take them 25 years to allow a good drug to come onto the marketplace, and the rules and regulation inhibits the options of the physician to use drugs for anything other than not approved by the FDA, which means it slows up research, and the cost goes up. And then when it's approved by the FDA, guess what happens? If you're on the inside track of that, today I approve this, I'm the FDA, today I approve this drug, tomorrow their drug company's value, their stock goes up 50-fold, just because a bureaucrat made this decision. So it's a protection of the corporations is basically what it is. But people weren't dying from bad drugs before we had the FDA. I mean, it didn't happen. There'd be other agencies that would do this, and there'd be no reason to assume that all of a sudden the drug companies have it in their interest to give you a bad drug.
Well, I'm not sure what thalidomide fits into there, but it's hard to prove a negative. But are you assuming that there are no bad drugs? Excuse me, there are.
There's plenty of bad drugs, and the FDA's permitted a lot of them to get on the market too. How many bad drugs are on the market now? Did you ever see a PDR? They're about that big, and probably half of them are useless. But if it's FDA approved, and what does the FDA do when it comes to alternative or natural products? The FDA and the drug industry keeps them off the market. A natural drug product, alternative health care, freedom of choice, it is obstructed from those making those free choices. So it's there to protect the drug industry. So they very often do exactly the opposite. I believe in free choice on picking alternative care, and rather than having it licensed through the FDA and these drug approvals. It delays, it costs so many. This is one reason why drug costs are so high, because it goes through these years and years and years of litigation getting approval, and that's a source of making drug costs much higher in cost.
So how do we get to this mess? Let's just stick with FDA, or go with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, but how is it that this body of burdensome regulations was allowed to develop? Is it private sector, parts of the private sector finding ways to protect themselves, or what?
I don't know. I haven't done a detailed history of exactly this, but my assumption would be that there'd be a lot of well-motivated people and say, well, we need these regulations to help the people and protect the people. But those individuals, the companies that are involved, immediately leap to it and take over and find out how they can keep out their competition, no matter what industry it is. Whether it's the housing industry, housing insurance, it's always to squeeze the little guy out and protect the big industries. It never serves. Competition serves the competitor who's trying to compete with big industry. And I don't like to see government protecting big industries and big corporations.